Education, teaching, and learning. It's not what it used to be. So many of us have been caught between two educational epochs, eras, watershed moments, and our task is to navigate the transition, the change. Today I want to go against the skeptical grain about technology and learning and teaching. Consider this. Borrowing a line from Ignatius of Loyola and Rod Serling, imagine, if you will, it's the first class of the school year, that orientation class where you introduce the course. In the 21st century, learning happens in local, national, and global contexts. Let me illustrate. This introduction to the online course in Christian social ethics, Prep's first experience in online learning, is happening from the deck of a Royal Caribbean cruise ship during the month of July on its way back from Bermuda. As you can see, this course will not happen in its traditional classroom setting with 30, 40, or 50-minute classes. This course will cross borders, will be a class without walls. We'll be able to go back in time to the age of Aristotle, into the modern period studying people like J.S. Mills, and into exploring contemporary global issues with philosophers like Peter Sanger, social activists like Melinda Gates, and the workings of a young Palestinian boy and a young man, Israeli, in liberating their neighborhood, so that all people might have a chance to flourish. You'll have assignments to complete, projects to work on, and deadlines to meet. But what's unique about an online learning is you'll be able to pace yourself, select your topics, your focus, do things in your own way, in your own manner, any time, any place. For instance, imagine it's the middle of the school year. You're on a cruise with your family, and you're also participating in an online discussion group on issues related to human sexuality or human rights. Yes, in online learning, you have the wisdom of the world at your fingertips. Welcome aboard this new adventure in learning. Or imagine a flipped classroom, a lecture viewed online, where students can see it when and where they can. Access to the internet, is it a human right? When I received a hospital bill for a coronary catheterization, the fee for service gave me pause. The procedure, which offers diagnostic and prognostic data determining the quality and length of a patient's life, is out of reach for a majority of Americans. The cost for the procedure exceeds $20,000, and slightly over 75% of Americans make less than $99,000 per year, which means that they cannot afford the procedure unless they have health insurance with a reasonable copayment. Imagine if I asked the same questions about CT scans and capsule endoscopies. What is the price of access to technology that benefits human welfare? What is the price of access to technology that reduces child mortality due to waterborne diseases? Every 30 seconds, a child dies from a disease like diarrhea because she lacks access to clean water or a toilet. The Gates Foundation is making substantial grants to universities to develop affordable toilets. As of a month ago, none of the proposals cost less than $1,000 to install, a price too dear for a worker earning $2 a day. Ethical questions regarding access to technological advances that serve human welfare populate the majority of scholarly journals, and they raise one singular question: is access to technological resources a human right? During the week of July 4, 2012, the United Nations passed a resolution declaring that access to the internet is a human right. That action prompted innovators like Vinton G. Cerf to argue in New York Times pieces that access to the internet might be a civil right, but it could not be a human right. Jack Huey in the Huffington Post observes that digital platforms are changing the nature of social participation, the spaces in which we share our ideas, information, and knowledge that is essential for human welfare. Tom Friedman, writing about the Arab Spring, states that the role of the internet was overrated in Egypt and Tunisia, but that it's being underrated currently in Gulf life, where in these more closed societies, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube are providing vast, uncontrolled spaces for men and women to talk to each other and to talk back to their leaders. One need only recall the online images of Neda Agha Sultan, the Iranian woman killed during street protest, or the reports of the Egyptian government's torture of Khalid Said, to realize the capability of the digital public square to marshal global responses against the abuse of citizens or the violation of human rights by states' authorities. Is the UN Council for Human Rights correct? Is access to the internet, to ICTs, a human right? Followed by a discussion online, which in turn is followed by a class in which there is an activity deepening their insight, their understanding of the topics and the information and the knowledge at hand. And so I have an invitation for you. Let's navigate the educational turn together. Let's consider this possibility. An authentic 21st century learning experience as you imagine it, with the students registered for your class in mind. May I be of some help?